Welcome to Alpha as Ty, where we break down but hopefully don't break early access games, and today we're looking at Unraveled, Tale of the Shipbreaker's Daughter. Funded via Kickstarter in May of 2015 and greenlit on Steam, Unraveled is the sixth title from Rose Portal Games, a small group of developers who you might have heard of when that whole Steam keys for reviews thing happened and all the reviews for one of their games got purged. Several of their games were built using an RPG Maker engine as a base, and Unraveled is no exception. This game revolves around the daughter of a family of shipbreakers. For those unfamiliar, shipbreaking involves taking old ships, running them aground, then tearing them down to sell off as parts or scrap metal. This is often done in places where things like labor laws and worker safety are either abstract, loosely interpreted concepts or just plain don't exist. Specifically, the developers cite The Wire Nest, a documentary on Mumbai's shipbreaking yards, as inspiration. The girl's family goes missing while working on a ship, and she runs inside to try and find them. It doesn't take long for her imagination to run wild, and her stuffed animal, monster thing named Marbles, to come to life and help her through the ship, which also starts to warp and change with her imagination. However, the monster doll starts to come undone, and the girl needs to find her parents before the doll completely unravels. Or, something worse happens to her. Unraveled goes for a different storytelling method from most role-playing games. When you think of RPGs, you probably think of games with long dialogue sequences and lots of talking virtually everywhere you go. Talking to other party members, talking to shopkeepers, talking to locals, talking to travelers, talking to inanimate objects, but here, there's almost no dialogue. Instead, the story is told almost exclusively through the pantomimes and actions of the characters and little thought bubbles, like what you might see in some older RPGs or The Sims. Sometimes things are a bit up to interpretation, but on the whole, I like the idea. The game is pretty linear, particularly in the early stages, and only seems to open up when there are larger puzzles to solve, or the paths branch off to find an extra marble or two or an item chest. This usually involves some light platforming, either jumping across ledges or crawling across a pipe to get to a new area. It's usually pretty obvious where you can do this because the edges of the platform are highlighted if you can interact with them. Judging by the reward for finishing the game in under an hour, Unraveled isn't going to be very long. Or maybe it's like Final Fantasy VI, where you can game over 52 times in a certain spot and trigger the end credits. In battle, the girl and Marbles can do one of two colored attacks. Aside from statuses or bonuses related to individual attacks, each can do more or less damage based on color balance. Using the calm attacks, which are blue, swings the balance to the rage attacks, which are yellow? Or is it orange? Sorry, it's hard for me to tell. The opposite is also true. Blue attacks do more damage if its target is the opposite color, and vice versa. It's also possible to defend while shifting the color balance one spot in either direction. Health resets after each fight, and there aren't any magic points to worry about. Instead of random battles, fights happen in set areas or when getting close to a clearly visible mob. As such, no grinding. Well, sort of. Each battle gets graded according to how much damage you take and how many turns it lasts. The indicators for these are helpfully shown at the top of the battle screen. Just winning a fight nets 1 star, but completing it quickly and without taking too much damage gives you an additional 2, and with each, a marble. There is an option to retry a fight, as well as the ability to save anywhere, so if you're a perfectionist and want to get the best rating each time, you can. Marbles, no, not the monster, the actual marbles, can also be found laying around, and are used for the dollhouse, indicated by a blue out-of-place door. Once restored, you can use the marbles to buy furniture for it, furniture which gives various bonuses to each character in battle, like starting with a defense buff and automatic health regeneration. Other than marbles, the item, there's food to collect which powers up Marbles, the monster, once he's had enough of it. However, this highlights one of my issues with the game so far. It's difficult to tell at a glance what exactly improves with each level, as some of the symbols are a bit vague, namely when you learn a new attack. It's also a bit odd that when leveling after a battle, the attack boost doesn't get at least a basic description. That leads me to the more objective programming side problems. For one, the beta still has a Kickstarter link in the main menu. The catch is, when you hit it, instead of opening the Kickstarter page in your browser, the game crashes. On a related note, Later in the game, I bought the second piece of furniture needed for the Healthy Monster ability. The furniture appeared upstairs, the screen faded to black, and the game crashed. The last, and in my opinion, worst bug, did not cause the game to crash. Warning, the following footage may make you nauseous. Viewer discretion is advised. Instead, I loaded my save after the first crash and realized when I started moving that the motion blur filter used on the title screen was stuck on. It wouldn't go away except for during battles and after the world map dramatically changed. Reloading my save and restarting the game didn't help either. I wouldn't have minded as much, except this happened at a time when I needed to move around a lot in a big open space to solve a platforming puzzle. I sincerely hope this gets fixed by the time the game launches, because I'd hate to see anyone else play the game and end up like this.